Welcome to Real Talk with Eugene. I got my brother, the Reverend Robert Brzenzski, on with me today. What's up, my brother? Happy birthday.
Hello, thank you.
Happy birthday, I mean Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, birthday is appropriate because my birthday is actually December 20th.
Okay.
And we haven't spoken or seen each other over the holidays, so this would be the first time we've connected since then. So
I knew what I was saying. Yeah, that's it.
There are no mistakes.
Nah, there are no mistakes. Yeah, man, there are no mistakes. So Robert and I were talking briefly before we set this up, and we're talking about topics. And the topic that I wanted, or what I wanted to talk with you about, my brother, is what is it for you? What's it like for you to be a New Thought minister, specifically a religious science minister in these days and times, going into 2020?
Yeah.
Wow. And just where are you with this thing called life as that?
Where am I with this? Well, life is good. And I've been pondering over the last few days, knowing that we get to sit down here, I've been pondering this concept. What does it mean for me? And to me, that means in my ministry. What does it mean to be active, to be alive, to be preaching, if you will, to be teaching and sharing and professing this thing called the science of mind in today's world, in today's environment, in today's consciousness, which is the big key here.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, business is good. Life is good. It is all good. And there are a lot of things going on in the world that are very easy to look at and say, I don't see the good in that.
Right.
Where is there good in this experience? Whether it's politics or Mother Nature rebalancing herself, or whether it's in how we communicate and associate with each other, social and a personal level, it would appear to some, and it does appear to a lot of people out there right now, like the world's in a shit pot going to hell in a handbasket.
Right, right.
This is the internet. I can get away with saying that, right?
Right. And this is real talk.
And this is real talk. And you don't have to go very far to find somebody that's trying to reinforce that perspective.
Right.
That the world's on fire, our politics are all screwed up, that there's a bigger divide in America right now than ever before. And no, I don't buy any of that. And I'm not going to buy any of that. And no matter how hard you push me and how much you try to sell me on this, and no matter how many times you keep trying to jab me with these so-called facts and figures and whatever it is, your proof, I'm not going to buy it. Because as a spiritual leader, as a New Thought spiritual leader, when I buy that crap, then we're all in trouble.
Right.
Because if I'm buying it, then that means other colleagues of mine might be buying it. And other friends of mine might be buying it. For the last 10 years, I think I've tried very hard to surround myself with very positive people.
Right.
With ministers, practitioners, general people. It doesn't matter what title you have or how much education you have. It matters if you practice this stuff.
Right.
And for using it. And so I've surrounded myself with people that where that just doesn't fly.
Right. And just real fast, I want to say, Robert, and that doesn't mean that we stick our heads into the sand and pretend like nothing's going on.
Right.
Right.
Oh, exactly. Yes. This is not a spiritual bypass. Oh, la-di-da, the life, all is well and life is grand. The outside world has serious problems. And I say outside, meaning the life, the world of apparent negativity, the world of conditions. The world of the absolute, in God's perspective, there is a divine plan that's unfolding through all of this. And we can find that good And we have to be willing, I believe, in this day and age, to voice the truth more so than ever. And it goes back to the older versions. I think it was Mother Teresa, right? I won't go to a war protest, but when you have a rally for peace, let me know and I'll show up.
Right.
And I don't see many people having rallies for peace, but I see a lot of people having rallies against this and against that and against this. And I show up at many of those because I want to be a presence for the good in those moments. I want to be a voice of the truth in those moments. I want to hold a sign that doesn't put somebody down, but builds up what it is we want to see on this planet.
That's right.
We really are building a world that works for everyone.
Yeah, and right now it may not look or feel all that great, but I love what you said, you know, have the willingness to be the voice.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, the human me, the guy that has to go into the voting booth and pull that handle, I know that's an old term figuratively, right? But the guy that has to go into the voting booth and cast that ballot isn't exactly happy with what's going on in the world.
Right.
And I think there's enough voices telling us what's broken.
I don't need to add mine. Right.
Exactly. So what can I do? I either remain silent or I promote an alternative perspective, an alternative vision, an alternative voice that says, okay, this too shall pass. Because what are we going to do about it moving forward?
Right. Right.
And you know, it's great. Neither of us are really here representing a church or anything. So if we wanted to, we could go talk politics. We could start talking politics and start promoting this and that and the other thing. And you know, I'll be straight up. It pisses me off that more people discounted Marianne Williamson immediately, and that more people wouldn't contribute a few bucks here and there. Because the only person I can foresee in the Democratic Party that has heart, that really is coming from a voice of heart and a voice of truth, can't keep her doors open and can't afford to pay her people.
Right.
And has to not suspend her campaign, but back down, and has to go back to a grassroots. And big money is going to win again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or we can recognize that America isn't quite ready yet for a fully conscious president.
Whew.
Let's just say it'd be a huge step from where we are right now.
Truly.
To somebody that was heart-centered, lives in integrity, speaks truth, and has everybody's best interest at heart.
Right. Right.
Working towards a vision of a world that works for everyone rather than a world that works for me and mine.
Right.
I don't know that we could handle that kind of a swing.
Because that's a big swing.
I'd love to try. So, okay, I give up my human perspective. I have to suspend my outrage. I have to suspend my disbelief in God in the process, and say there's got to be something bigger going on here than I can see.
Right.
I said that when our current president was elected.
Right.
Yeah, I'm upset with everybody else, but I gotta hold that there's something bigger coming. There's something. Right. Now, maybe that is the absolute last gasp of a dying paradigm, a dying ideal. I'd love to say the same for racism in America. I'd love to say the same for homophobia in America. I'd love to say the same for poverty in America.
Right.
That these are the last gasps of dying paradigms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we get to be on the transition team here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We can usher in more of the same with a different color jacket, with a different voice, but more of the same rhetoric on either side. Or we can be the group that ushers in a new consciousness.
Yeah.
A real new way of being in the world.
And here's the thing about that, Robert, it's time.
Oh yeah.
And it's been time for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You've been around this movement a little bit longer, I believe, than I have, Eugene. First found this in 2000. So let's call it 19, 20 years now. It's late 2000, middle late 2000, somewhere like that. And I remember back then asking those questions, why aren't more people thinking like this?
Right.
Why is this philosophy so small? Why is this organization so tiny? Now, this might just be my skewed perception because I couldn't see it 20 years ago. But today, I can't turn on the media and not see the CSL, the science of mind, the unity, the new thought message.
Right.
There's a great television show. It's run its course now, Madam Secretary.
Okay.
With Tia Leone, and she played a very powerful politician. And at one point in that series, I think it's like season 4 or 5 or something like that, she uses a line that just nailed it for me, because it's nothing I haven't heard, you haven't heard, and it's nothing that many of our listeners haven't heard. She looks at somebody, she says, and then we can she's talking about, get past this old paradigm, put this old shit away, and then we can get on to the hard work of building a world that works better for everyone.
Wow.
Now that was on a national television program, right? Commercial TV, hundreds of millions, whatever. All these. So what we've been preaching as New Thought is actually right now on that cutting edge of American consciousness, at least.
Right. It truly is.
More and more people believe what we teach than don't.
Right.
Now we all got to practice it.
Right. You're right. And Raymond and I have been speaking about this because you've heard this and you've seen this before in terms of this philosophy, in terms of this teaching that we've heard throughout the years, that this is the best kept secret. I'm like, well, it's time for us to turn away from that.
Right.
And so that we can turn on the TV or the radio and hear what all of this is about. And even though it's new thought, it is, I like to say that it's nothing really new. It's a new thought on ancient wisdom, on ancient ways of doing things, but these ways work. One of the things I like to say, is that old school is the best school. Right? Right? So just like you, man, it's like, which is why I'm doing these real talk segments, and it's beginning to shift. Because you and I, we're having conversations just like this. Yeah. How do me personally, because I've been talking about, my first question used to be, it still is, who am I to be in whatever it is? And then my second question is, what's mine to do? Right? Well, I know who I am to be. So now I'm at the point, Robert, where it's like, okay, what is mine to do to help shift this bull crap that's going on?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What
have you come up with?
Go.
Well, so, and because that's one of my first questions too.
Yeah.
Right. I know who I am.
Right.
And I know that if I show up as anything other than my absolute authentic self, all hell breaks loose. Right. It doesn't work. And the end result is I'm the one that gets mud on, I'm the one that looks bad.
Right.
When I try to be something I'm not, when I try to put on a persona or play a role for you, for an audience, it never works.
Right.
So all I really have, I was talking with a friend yesterday about this, all we really have is our authenticity.
Right.
That unique spark that is ours and ours to share with this planet, and no one else could do it. No one else can show up the way you do. No one else can show up the way my kids do.
Right.
Everybody out there that thinks they want to be this person, or if I could just be more like that person, or if I could just speak more like, you know, Michael Beckwith, or if I could do this like Roger Teal or what.
Right.
No.
Right. Been there, done that.
The only option you got is to be you.
Right.
So I ask people all the time, what's your unique gift that you're here giving?
Right.
And that might change over time. We all have different gifts at different times in our lives, different.
Absolutely.
And there's no question in my mind, if we look at the through line of our lives, take the time to kick back and really look at what worked when I was 10 and what worked when I was 11 and 12, and do that life review from a deeply spiritual perspective. Every one of us has that tug of spirit, that calling. It's been kicking us in the butt sometimes
Right.
nurturing us and just kind of, you know, feeding us along, sometimes celebrating us. But there is a consistency to and a connection to what's worked in your life and honestly what hasn't.
Right. Right. And usually for me, what hasn't worked is when I'm trying to do it or be something that I'm not, authentically not. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, I was speaking about this, you know, because as you said, everybody, we all have come here with a gift to share. And I've gone so far as to say that maybe it was that gift that propelled us as a sperm cell to be the first one to reach that egg. Maybe it was that gift that said, we need to be here.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to say, yes, it is that gift. So everybody has a gift, and it is from that spiritual standpoint. It's from that spiritual creation, right? That says, I am here to make a difference. And it doesn't mean that I need to do anything that's going to be earth, you know, shattering, but maybe earth shattering in my little part of the world.
Yes.
As long as I show up to do me.
When we're all in a philosophy of oneness, in a world of oneness where we are all connected, there are no small acts.
Right. Right. Butterfly effect. Right.
Every act has the potential to change the world to its core.
Yes.
But we never know who's listening.
That's right. You never know. You never know.
We never really know who is going to get attached to this little video that we're creating here. Sorry, let me get rid of that word little. Right. Somebody's going to find themselves attached to this video, and they're going to be attracted to you, or they're going to be attracted to me, or they're going to be attracted to the philosophy as a whole.
Right.
And they're going to go out and change their world.
Right.
And that's going to cause somebody in their world to say, well, then I'm going to go out and change my world.
Right.
Right. And I shared this one recently. If we go back, if I look at any of the gurus of the last 20 years that I've been either associated with, introduced to, or just watched from afar on a movie, there's similarities. There's a lot of similarities. One of them is, as we've been talking about, the authenticity piece, right? The willingness to stop showing up as what everybody else thought and start showing up as what I thought. The other similarity is we've all got our adversities. We've all got our own story as to why I'm not good enough, why I can't do this, why you shouldn't trust me to do this. We all have a couple of books full
right.
of BS, of bullshit that we like, that it's the human nature to kind of play it small. To back off. No. You said it yourself a little while ago. Now is the time.
Now is the time.
More so than ever.
Right.
To let our voices be heard.
Right.
And I saw one yesterday. It looked pretty legit. The amount of background I could, the amount of research I could do seems like the article was pretty legit. 1 in 5 LGBT adults in America are registered to vote. That's got to change from my perspective.
Right.
Now, Can I be the guy that goes out and shouts and starts getting everybody that I know who's LGBT registered to vote? No, I'm not LGBT.
Right.
That's not mine to do.
Right.
Is it mine to say, wow, I don't like this and I'd like to see this changed? Yes.
Right.
I got to find where my voice will be effective.
Right. Exactly.
And whether it's, truthfully, right now, more than ever, religious folks have been, for some reason, taught we got to stay away from politics. And spiritual folk, we've been taught we can't talk about politics. And everybody's afraid to talk about politics because I'm going to offend someone.
Right.
I saw a meme. I won't go into the politics of it. I saw a meme a couple days ago. I didn't agree with the statement, but I wanted to clarify the poster's intentions. It didn't take more than 10 minutes and a couple of back and forths, and I was blocked and kicked out, and who knows what kind of mean, rotten, nasty stuff they were talking about behind my back.
Right. Like that's never happened before.
Right. All good. No worries.
Right.
The problem is this person got on, well, not a problem, but the catch is this person is on my list because she got on my list from an appearance I made at a New Thought church a few years back. Signed up for my list because she's attending a New Thought church.
Right.
In New Thought, we took this, it's all good.
Oh, man.
We took the concept that there's no right or wrong in the mind of God, and I believe we've mistranslated that to say there's no right or wrong in the body of man, of humanity.
Right.
And from my perspective, no. There are a number of things that are wrong.
Right.
It is wrong how easily people can get a hold of a gun.
Right.
That have misintentions and are misusing this wondrous power called life, called God, and are misusing that power for personal means and personal gains. Right. There are far too many people that have bought into New Thought gets criticized as a prosperity preaching and a prosperity theology. And there are far too many people that are using the same principles we teach to make themselves, quote, dirty, filthy rich at the expense of others. Right. With no care for the environment, with no care for anything other than their bottom line in their pockets. Right. Right. We have elected officials that are doing that currently to line their own pockets.
And have been for years.
We need to change that.
And that's what needs to change. Exactly. Exactly.
So it's not all good. It's all good in God, from God's perspective. But see, this power, presence, and intelligence we call God can see the end game. Right? God's already read the last chapter. God's already watched the last few scenes of the movie.
Right.
The power really does know how it's going to end.
Right.
And what we believe and what we teach is, and it's got to be good. Somehow, some way. When the Twin Towers came down,
right,
I was in foundations class. I had seen 2 New Thought services in probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was in foundations class. And it was like the second week of foundations class. And the biggest thing I was reminded was that we got to hold on to the collateral good. And I was also coached that it could take a decade or more to figure out what that is.
Right.
We're at the same point in our country, in the world right now.
Yes, we are.
We don't know what the collateral good will be of losing hundreds of thousands of animals in Australia. We don't know what the collateral good is going to be from our political fallout. We don't know what the collateral good is going to be in what appears to be a resurgence in racism in America. But I got to hold on that there is some collateral good in there somewhere.
And that's the practice, right? To look for that good. You
Yeah.
know, in spite of the appearances, in spite of the bullshit that is going on,
Yep.
you know, because there are things that are wrong, you know, for people to be able to go out and get guns, that's one. And then to use guns and then not be held accountable for the life that you took. Come on, that's just not right, right? And even within all of that, it's my practice, it's your practice, it's our practice to look for the good, to ask the question, okay, so what good is in here that I'm not seeing yet?
Yep.
Now that takes practice, that takes courage.
Yep.
You know? Sheesh.
Because it means I'm not allowed to make the other wrong.
Right.
I'm
Whoo!
not allowed to make an other, someone else, another body, another philosophy. I'm not allowed to make them wrong because we haven't figured out what the good is yet.
Right.
I can't make it wrong that let's take the bank bailout, right? We lost a couple of America lost a couple of investment banks. I don't know if it's good or bad for the American economy for that event to have occurred. I don't know if it's beneficial to our economy or if it hurt our economy.
Right.
I'm sure there's a million people who'd be more than happy to chime in and tell us what they think.
Right.
But until I can see, oh, there's a glimmer of good that's come out of there.
Right.
Maybe it's new regulations. Maybe it's new safety measures. Maybe it's just an increased awareness by the people that they could do their own banking, that they could start a community bank.
Mm-hmm. See? Yeah.
That we don't have to go to big invest, that we could micro invest. There's millions and millions of possibilities that come out of every event.
Yeah.
Right? And I've been using this a lot lately. In our lives, we have events, an experience, and that leads to an opportunity.
Right.
So who cares what the event is? Somebody cut me off in traffic.
Right.
I drop a bottle of honey in the supermarket. Sorry, my vegan friends are going to get on me because I still use honey. Right? I drop a jar of spaghetti sauce at the supermarket, splat goes everywhere. My shoes are all red and tomato-y, and and the floor is a mess. It's just an event.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Just an event.
My kid comes home in a bad mood, throws his bike up against the garage door and dents the garage door. Luckily, that hasn't happened. It's just an event. But I'm going to immediately, and we can't help it, I immediately start to assign meaning
Right.
to that event. And now I'm creating an experience.
You're right.
Because now I'm either getting pissed off, now I'm going to yell, now I'm going to laugh and smile, now maybe I'm going to cry and weep, maybe I'm just going to sit there dumbfounded and act like it wasn't me and try to run away and pretend. The event leads me to create an experience.
Right.
Once I'm in my experience, all that I have is opportunity.
Right. I
have an opportunity to go that way or to go A or B. Maybe there's a C up, but there could be a dozen opportunities in that experience. But the experience gives me the opportunity. And what I have found is I'm usually better off when I take the opportunity to stop, breathe for a minute, look around and say, okay, what is the good in this?
Right.
Where's this pointing me?
Right. Yeah. I've been saying this for a while, right? One of the greatest gifts that we have as human beings is the gift of choice, which is what you're referring to, right? Because we have the event, there's the experience, and then I get to choose how I want to go with that, or how I get to look at the event, which creates the experience, which creates an opportunity. So we get to choose. And it's an interesting gift that I believe, this is just me, that most people don't really look at, or don't really take thought about, oh, I get to choose which way I get to think about this. I'm going to choose to be upset or not.
Right.
Right? Because whichever way I choose, that creates the experience and the feeling tone that I have, which then will determine my action. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a new thought. Have a new thought.
Have a new
Take the
thought.
time to have a new thought.
Yeah. It is time to have a new thought.
Yeah.
And kind of as you were saying earlier, right? New thought is nothing new.
Right.
And I've always looked at it from that perspective. There's nothing chronological about this.
Right.
We actually teach there is no time or space in the mind of God. And so how is it that we would, assign one of the biggest words in our philosophy to a time space? Doesn't make sense from the beginning. It's have a different thought.
Right. Exactly.
But different thought won't sell books.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. There was something that you said, man, just to change this up, well, it doesn't really change it up, but it was during the prayer before we got on.
Sure.
And I had to write that down, that we are a one-time event.
Yes.
So if you don't mind it, we're going to keep this in the same vibration. What do you mean by that, my brother Robert Brzenzski?
Great, thank you. New Thought philosophy, science of mind's philosophy, teaches the eternality of the soul. And we go even farther, the eternality of the soul everlasting. What we teach, so there is no need for reincarnation. There is no life, death, birth cycle. There is. And people have pontificate, and there's that theory, what if this is a school and we take on the body to come back here and learn a certain lesson, and when we're done with the lesson, we let go of the body. And if we look at Abraham Hicks, they are, if we look at other channels, collectives, collective consciousness, finding a way to communicate to the individual consciousness of human.
Yes.
So we're all unique individuals. No two of us are alike.
Thank God.
Even twins, right? Even twins, even triplets, not exactly alike.
Right.
And I've been introduced actually to a lot of sets of twins that aren't estranged from each other, but are purposefully and by choice living in different sections of the world, don't communicate with, right? They just, personally, they didn't get along. That proves that the dissimilarity even between twins. So we all have a unique presence here. And what I believe is, it's not so much that we came here to learn stuff.
Right.
It's that we have come here, we've chosen to come here to be teachers.
Yeah.
We've come here and chosen to give.
Yeah.
To be of service.
Yes.
To share and we don't know where they come from, but the innate gifts and talents that are within us.
Right.
I often think of musicians and rock stars. The guys that want so hard to be a rock star never do. Maybe they're playing in a band when they're 60 and they're just playing in the back alleys and in the pool halls and the bars, and we got some real old style talk going there. But the guys that end up being rock stars are always like, well, yeah, I just like music.
Right.
I'd rather just sit around and play right. They don't even actually want to be out. And a lot of times they don't want to be in the public spotlight. They want to just be noodling with their music because that's what they're here to give.
Right. Right.
And I think we all intuitively know when we're in the presence of someone that's sharing their unique gifts, skills, and talents.
Right.
Because there's no question they're in their element. They're in their joy. They're animated, and that authenticity is really real.
Yeah.
There.
Absolutely.
So I believe, and there's a lot of people I believe that hide those, that again, we like to deny those things in ourselves.
Man.
But as I said earlier, I surround myself with people that have immersed themselves in this philosophy. And I can't tell you how many times we get into great discussions over the finer points of what somebody said or wrote, or how the law works, or how the power shows up, how the presence shows. We get into, because we all have a unique interpretation.
Right.
Again, I'm I get to create this thing called life, right? I get to create that as I go along.
Right, exactly.
And I get to create it so it works for me. Now, it doesn't always, my creation of life doesn't always work for everybody else out in the world. Sometimes I bump into people and my form of creation doesn't really jive with the way they think it should be. That's okay. We can have a discussion about that.
Right.
Sometimes I bump into people who they're creating their life in a way that they don't like, that doesn't feel beneficial or they're not happy with. Hey, that's great. We can have a conversation about that.
Right.
I can support you in creating the life you truly desire.
Right, exactly.
That's one of my gifts. That's what I get to give. So whether I'm giving of myself by showing up and showing up at a nonprofit, going out and helping the homeless, whether I'm showing up by rallying for a cause or getting involved in politics, whether I'm showing up just being a voice for truth and justice, we all have to show up.
Yeah. Or wither away.
Exactly.
There was a scene in the Shawshank Redemption, one of my favorite films. And the character played by Tim Robbins, Andy, had just come out of the hole once again. And he was leaning up against the wall. And the character played by Morgan Freeman walks up to him. And Andy stands up and he says, you know, you can either get busy living or get busy dying.
Right.
And that was so, so powerful. You know, and I didn't really catch it until the fourth time that I saw the movie years after the first time. I was like, oh man, let me get busy living. And it wasn't until recently, Robert, that, because I used to wake up just recently with this fear, right? Fear of being seen. And just that, you know, that little egoic mind doing this little shit that it, you know, it's just just so used to having that habit and having that tape going. And that would come up. I'm like, dude, you're seen. You can check that off of the list. You are already seen. So now over the last quarter, Robert, my intention is, and my affirmation is, be seen, be heard. Be seen, be heard. Why? Because we, you, me, we, all of us have gifts to share. And the only way, and what makes a gift is when we share it and when we give it away.
Yep. Exactly.
We can get busy living or get busy dying.
Yep.
And screw the dying. You know, I don't want to be, I refuse to be one of the walking dead. Screw that.
Yeah, I agree.
No, because like I said before, man, I think that gift that we all have come here with was the impetus of that sperm cell going to that egg to go, we have stuff to do here. Let's get busy.
Let's get busy.
Let's get busy. You know, we didn't come to this earth plane to learn anything. As you said, we came here to teach, but also we came here, I think, to remember who we are.
Yeah.
We came here to remember, in all of these events, all of these experiences, when we choose to, can remind us and wake us up to who we truly are, to be our authentic selves, giving our authentic gifts. Like I can't give Robert Brzenzski's gift the way that Robert Brzenzski can.
Right.
Why would I even try?
And I would love to play drums the way Eugene Holden does, but I just can't do it.
Right?
I could beat my hands raw trying to play the way you do. Never going to happen.
It's a gift of mine, right? Yeah.
The best I can hope for is that a little bit of your magic inspires and rubs off on me, so I learn a little bit something about, but I never, right? You kind of bring us all the way back around to the beginning.
Yep.
It is time to get busy.
Time to get busy.
And if you ask me what's it like being a spiritual leader in today's world, it's time to get busy.
Yeah.
Because work is good. Life is good.
Yeah.
But there are still a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And Science of Mind, New Thought may not be the best kept secret in the world anymore. But unfortunately, from my perspective, we're still not in the forefront of enough people's minds.
I think we're playing too small, bro.
I'd like to see us be out in the forefront of more people's mind, a little more, not aggressively, not aggressively in people's face. But I want you to know that when Tia Leone says a world that works better for everyone on TV, that's because one of her writers got it from Centers for Spiritual Living.
Right.
We've been using that as a vision statement for long enough now that I think as an organization we can claim that.
Right.
And when people start talking about, I'm here to awaken humanity to their spiritual magnificence, that collectively as a body, our work is about awakening people to their spiritual magnificence. That's the mission that we have assigned ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Through deep spiritual contemplation, we have all agreed that is a part of our mission.
Yep.
Then anybody who isn't being seen and being heard, let me invite you to a bigger conversation. Let's have a bigger conversation. Let's not make you wrong for that.
Right.
Let's invite you to a bigger let's find, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Let's find the platforms to allow more voices to be heard and more faces to be seen.
Right.
And I am in the process of launching a new ministry. It's called New Thought Media Network. We're starting with a radio station, and a lot of this is still all behind the scenes because it's not truly ready to be released yet. But the impetus behind it is to give more people a platform.
Right.
They can be seen and be heard.
That's right.
And, you know, Eugene, I want to put Real Talk on the network. I have a list of people I want to put that we collectively,
yes,
when we really work together, we can change the consciousness of this planet.
That's right.
And honestly, we've got the technology to do it instantly.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
2 days after I started seeing people, okay, so how long has Australia been burning? Far too long this year. How long did it take before the national news decided to say something? Far too long. How long did it take before people started posting on Facebook that we ought to start praying for Australia? Far too long. Mm. How long did it take after we started praying on Facebook for the rains to come? Not that long at all.
Yeah.
Not that long at all.
Boom.
We have the power to change the conditions of our lives.
Right.
Based on just our word alone. And collectively, our organization, we got more than enough people.
Yeah.
To do whatever we set our minds to.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do the work in consciousness.
Yeah.
And then we're going to watch the word manifest miraculously. Right? It'll seem like a miracle.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a miracle that America and Iran are not at war today.
Right.
To some, it seems like a miracle. To a lot of people, it's a recognition that a consciousness has shifted.
Right.
We don't know exactly who it shifted in the most, and we don't know exactly how it shifted, but we know for sure consciousness changed.
Yes. Absolutely.
And nobody lost.
Right.
Because everybody won.
Right. You know, I don't have to make anybody wrong for me to be right. Why can't we all be right?
Uh-huh.
You know, Robert, I'm glad that you mentioned the New Thought Media Network, because I put right above that, I wrote down, get contact information. So if there's any, is it time for people to get in touch with you? And if so, how can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. My website is, my personal website is revbrz.com, REVBRZ.com. That'll give you a basic jump off.
Okay.
Really, to get in touch with me, catch me on Facebook, facebook.com/RobertBRZ. So Robert BRZ following the / on Facebook. You can also do a search for New Thought Media Network on Facebook. Currently, you can listen to the radio station at newthoughtradio.net.
Okay.
And eventually, and you can keep checking back on this one, newthoughtmedianetwork.org. that will be the main site, and that site could launch at any time. I don't exactly know what Spirit has planned for that yet, but we're working on it.
Could you repeat that last one for me, please?
Yes, it's New Thought Media Network.org. Or send me an email, robert@spiritevolving.com.
And then there's that.
And then there's that.
Okay. Cool.
If you can't find me, just call Eugene.
Yeah, right?
Have a problem finding me, call Eugene. He knows where I am.
I'll find you.
Exactly.
My brother, Reverend Robert Brzenzski, man, thank you so much for doing this with me. As you know, man, we've been, God, man, we've been hanging for over 10 years now. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but yeah, man. Much love to you, man. And tell Laura I said hi.
I will. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here, Eugene. I love seeing how you're showing up in the world. So I want to affirm you're being seen and you're being heard.
Thank you. Just like you said, man, you want, with new thought media, the network and all of that, wanting to provide a platform for folks. And that's what I woke up one day, the Spirit gave me this idea for Real Talk a few months ago. It's like, let's provide a platform for people to share. So that's what we're doing. Let's be seen, let's be heard. And over the last week, I have been quoting Arsenio Hall when he had his show back in the day. Right. Let's get busy.
Let's get busy.
All right. I love you, brother.
I love you too. Thanks for watching, folks.
All righty. Peace.
Peace and blessing. Bye now.